Hello.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cal Cup Fall Minors. And today I'm, as always, joined by a Little Hammer and R1. Welcome back, everybody. Oh my golly goodness. Did we have some fantastic games so far in the tournament? We had quite the interesting showing from both Tangerine and Hut Pink Cartel there. Overall, what are you guys thinking of the tournament so far?
It was intense to watch. I was sitting here like, oh, this is not going to be a 3-0. Let's go to a 3-2. It was blowing my mind. It's always fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some very exciting, I guess you could say, twists and turns from that opening round there with Hut Cartel and Tangerine Squadron. We've got a couple of other games, of course, in that round of 8 going on as well. We are going to move on to our round of 4 here shortly. But Imperial Guard, just to give an update on the rest of the event, right? So Imperial Guard taking their match over Rancor Squadron 3-0. Baywatch, our 4th seed, going 3-0 versus our 5th seed Grey Hell Porgs as well there. And Savrip and Splinter Squadron looks like they are still duking it out just a little bit, perhaps.
If you refresh the page,
I just need to hit the refresh button. Oh no! It's Splinter Squadron managing to take their 7th seed victory over 2nd seed Savrip, 3-1. So,
interesting.
We are all set for some semifinals actions here on your Fall Minor Calrissian Cup.
So we just saw a lot of 3-0s there. Do you think this is going to be continuing throughout the tournament so far, or do you think this is more of like the preliminary, getting prepped up and ready?
You know, I don't know. Going into this matchup, we're going to be watching IG versus Baywatch, and I do not know how this is going to go. Both teams have really good players. IG had a great showing the last Cal Cup that we had here. But I know players on Baywatch, and Baywatch is good. 6 is scary. So I don't know how this upcoming game we're about to see is going to go. It might go to a 3-2.
I think it's tough to draw. Maybe I'll put it this way. I think it's. Don't be too hasty, my friend, right? When drawing conclusions from those 3-0s, right? I think it is. It doesn't give you enough of the details on how close a game is, right? Like, even if you manage to get, an ISD down to 2 or 3 hull remaining, and the MC-75 goes down and you lose, okay, well, that's just it. That's the end of the round, and the other team gets the victory there, right? So the games themselves might actually be extremely close compared to, well, the actual end results. But we'll see going into our semifinals.
We definitely will see. And with that, I'm going to leave it to a Little Hammer and R1 to take you guys into the next round of Calrissian Cup.
Yeah, let's check out these ships, these loadouts, see what's going on. Looking at the New Republic, we got ourselves on Baywatch. I'm seeing 1 Y-Wing, 3 X's, and a U, but of course the X-Wings are the only confirmed ships. Ion Torpedo, Ion Missile, Proton Torpedo, Ion Missile. The other X-Wing running Conch and Ion. On the Y-Wing, we see Goliath and Multilock, pretty standard. And on the support, we got ourselves Ion Cannon, Targeting Beacon, and Supply Droid. Meanwhile, on IG, the only confirmed ship so far is the Defender, which is Hod, running the APS Ion Missile, but we do have Kriegzilla in a bomber staged for Goliath Missile Multilock, Dynasty in a Defender with Ion Missile APS, Narcissist with the Targeting Beacon and Tractor Beam, scary stuff, and Ion Cannon, and the Bomber Heck with a Rotary Cannon, Goliath, and Multilock. So we're seeing a 2 Bomber, 2 Defender support on Empire, and on the New Republic, looks like it's going to be a 3 X-Wing, 1 Y-Wing support opener.
Very interesting on that. We saw, I guess you could say Previous matches, we've seen teams expand to 2 to 3 bombers, and now we're seeing maybe even a somewhat consistent theme. I guess two teams doing the same thing is the closest thing we get to consistency, right? But going back to fewer bombers, more air superiority, we'll see which prevails here in this opening round from Imperial Guard versus Baywatch.
I'm curious to see how much objective damage Baywatch is going to be able to put down with these X-Wings in this opener. Well, let's find out. Running out to the field. Let's see what's all going to go on and what's happening here, who's targeting what. We do see the Y-Wing on their team going towards an AI pack, of course. And I'm not seeing anybody run into Raider just yet. We do see Gnome shooting down one of the Goliaths coming in, knocks it down 1 minute and 30 seconds to go in this beginning phase. They do get their Goliaths hit off, and they do stop the first Goliath, but a multi-lock does go off on IG, pushing that morale back to half and half.
Yeah, a little bit of back and forth there. No, I think that's perhaps a few Goliaths getting shot down, a few multi-locks going out.
Ooh, but IG able to get another Goliath, but then it just pops back and forth. The player kill does go as Ty. Ty does die, and it does happen. IG does win this opening phase. Heck, with barely any hull left, 5 hull, but does live, refusing to give that 10 points over to Baywatch.
Yeah, really the deciding factor there. Both bombers had been sort of almost hit simultaneously. It was a race to see which team could finish off one first. Heck, managing to win that perhaps duel of defense there. Give Imperial Guard the opening assault phase here.
Yeah, let's see how they push forward. Of course, I'm looking for some Ion somewhere. Running out here, we do see Narcissus with the Ion Cannon popping down. One of the Nebulon C's shields have been drained entirely. The question is, are they going to go for a pure damage? And to see, I believe they are. It has been beaconed. We do see Heck flying in with the bomber, getting the rotary ready to dump into that Nebulon, just doing pure hold. The morale is at half and half. They're getting a solid AI ramp up on Baywatch, trying to shorten this phase. They do get down Raider. That's 20 points. That's huge. A few more AI and it will flip. But of course, Heck's out there with the overcharged rotaries, getting down damage. It's now at 33. It's getting so close to being out of phaseable. I mean, technically it is out of phaseable. We'll see if they commit. It's at 29, 24. It's falling.
A kill on Creekzilla, though, will flip the phase. They're going to have to do a little bit of work here out of phasing that Nebulon B. Not that it's not possible, but certainly spending a little bit of extra time to do so.
That's 15 points back towards IG, cutting down on this defense phase from Baywatch. But of course, Baywatch already in there, taking down Delta shields almost to nothing. We do see them below. We see Eriga on the bottom. Disco Dino coming in. We do see a bit of aggro on Cobra. And Lum is just struggling to survive it here. Does get Ion dunked and will die.
There it is.
But meanwhile, Delta at 52 hull, getting continuously dumped into by everybody out there. Beach, of course, underneath with that standard laser on that Y-Wing, just dumping into it back and forth, not being too contested in this manner.
Yeah, I do have to wonder where the Imperial Guard is on defense here. We did see, of course, Amla go down, but not a lot of AI being found in sort of the meantime there. We do see, in fact, another player killing Ariga there. That is going to push the phase quite a bit. Both shields are down, out of phaseable, but another one of those where you've got to delay and linger in enemy territory just a little bit longer than you want to.
That cruiser's at 26 hull right now. It'll be a bit of a challenge, as a lot of their heavy hitters like Beach did die there in an Ion dunk, meaning that nobody's out there to do the hard burst damage they need to quickly get that out of phased. As IG comes in to clean up, they've knocked down the shields on Charlie. Everybody's in there. We see Hod with bursts. We see Narcissus flying around. We see almost everybody on top of Charlie currently.
We just saw the player only known as Hod here, of course, just doing some excellent drifting and just amazingly on target and steady fire into fighting not one but two of those rear turrets on that Nebulon B as they blew past it. Excellent gunnery and marksmanship here on display from Hod, as that Nebulon B does finally go down.
And we see Hod immediately taking no time to stop, gets into the shield gen, starts bursting into it, gets some damage down, gets it down to below 3/4. Now it's at half. Left shield will fall. One subsystem down. The other shield still remains, getting dumped into currently as well. We see a little bit of ion and regular damage getting dumped into it currently as they're desperately trying to get down that Raider, trying to get those points back as IG is in here just doing work, getting damage down.
And
right
there
shield
goes
fall
that
as well.
right shield. Ooh, yeah, indeed. Heck
Two
does
subs.
manage to fall, so that is going to give them just a little bit of breathing room. They might be able to push it, yes, with the kill on the cruiser, on the Raider, excuse me, that will push the phase. It is
But at
not...
what cost?
Ooh, Hod falls, Dynasty falls, both to anti-ship Starfighter fire from the MC-75. Narcissus getting an early lead on the shields on that Corvette there, but absolutely right.
They lost left shield, they lost right shield, they lost power to an ion right there. That's not a good spot to be in. Baywatch basically has to come in and knock down A and knock down B and get the ISD in a place where they can engine park, because it's going to be quite an onslaught coming back into that MC-75 with a Raider and the whole team.
It is going to be a bit of a race here. They've got to get both of these down. They are losing some morale, but as they kill these cruisers, they will get it. They will get some of that back. Nomlum has to survive here. No, they won't. It's making it more and more difficult with every player kill. Imperial Guard manages to land.
Oh yeah, solid ion work from IG today, being able to disable and knock players out of the sky. Cobra knocks out Kriegzilla, though, as he tries to get back to base. That will leave IG down one as they begin their ISD assault. Maybe, because Delta's almost dead, but refuses to die. That gives them the time they need to respawn. The Morales at half and half. The ISD assault begins now. How much damage can they do in this window they've been given? Again, the Morales at half and half. That's not a good spot to be in. That's a few player kills, and it's all ogre, you know?
I was gonna say, yeah, that oh, there goes that the CR-90 Corvette as well, because that was still up while this was going on. So now they're just one player kill or one AI pack away, trying to get in as much shield damage as they can. I have to imagine.
Coming in, gets some damage down on that beacon. Shield gen trying to fly back around, bow tied around the back, see if he can get some more damage in. He does get it down to 80, but alas, the flip does happen. No shields are dead on the ISD. Not a great spot to be in, as we already see somebody on IG. If I can figure out which one, I think it's Kriegzilla. Kriegzilla already in there, getting some damage down on the MC-75, as well as Heck coming in, getting down some weak points that were generated by that power, getting destroyed at the end of the last phase. Finds two at the back of the MC-75, almost immediately gets it down to 23, 21, falling quickly. Finds another weak point on the bottom of the MC-75, a little more damage, and it will fall.
We were watching Narcissus here, just blasting away with those ion cannons, disabling X-Wings on their way over, preventing anyone from going on defense. Man,
there it is.
Spectacular play in, I would say, not only sort of the strategy, okay, it's very similar strategy to what we've seen in a lot of from a lot of teams so far, but marvelous execution across the board. 9 player kills for IG. Not too shabby. 8 for Baywatch as well.
Straight back and forth on PK, but when it comes to pure cap ship damage, Heck with 66k on that TIE bomber does shine on top compared to the rest of the team, where the majority of cap ship damage sat around 25 to 30k for pretty much both teams.
Yeah, well spread on the cap ship damage. Everyone doing their part. But obviously, Imperial Guard, you know, the numbers only tell part of the story, right? Like, sure, okay. If you're on offense for more of the time and you actually kill the cap ship, okay, you're probably going to have a little bit more cap ship damage there. But it all came down to the timing, right? So when IG was able to accomplish those kills, when they were able to pull them off, it was at the critical points in each of those morale phases, either causing a flip or causing a shortening in the duration of their opponent's phase. Extremely well done on the Imperial Guard side of things for round 1 of our semifinals versus Baywatch.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how Baywatch will adjust going into game number 2, right? Maybe, I mean, you hit the point, right? The goal is to shorten your defense phases as little as possible. So, correct timing of popping certain things is vital, right? I think that first assault phase they had on the MC75 as IG was super solid, getting down the right and the left and power, forcing Baywatch into a position where it's like win or die. As the factions do flip, I'm curious if we're going to see Baywatch try to, repeat that success that IG had as Empire into game number 2, essentially coming in and just wrecking house on that MC75.
We are, of course, going to have map number 2. Looks like it's going to come in as Fostar.
Oh.
They changing up the map order just a little bit from our previous round here. But still, well, let's see. Now we have to see if Baywatch is going to make that classic flip over to the Imperial side of things, or if Imperial Guard is going to stay. The answer is no. Baywatch will take the Imperial side for this round on Fostar Haven.
Which on Fostar, that as long as you win that opening coin flip because of the way the AI are on that map as Empire, you're in a great position.
So yeah, perhaps well picked. As long as they can pull that off. So right, I mean, in terms of the map balances and things like that, obviously Xavian Abyss is no longer part of our map selection options here, just due to some of the small, but at this level of the game, is still noticeable differences in balance between different sides there. You've still got some. I guess you could say faction preferences for each map. Fostar Haven, probably going to pull a little bit towards the Imperial side of things, but you're absolutely right. Once you get through that opening sort of salvo where everything's in the open, everything gets a lot harder to find. So it is really all about getting that opening flip on Fostar Haven. We'll see if Baywatch is able to make some adjustments to make it happen.
In terms of maps with speed, Fostar is pretty much like the second slowest map when it comes to phase flipping, where of course our good old Neri Dockyard sits at number 1.
Which is, surprisingly or not, has actually been banned in this matchup, which is a little bit of a change. Usually we don't see a ban from Nadiri. It's usually one of the first ones played, but Imperial Guard choosing to ban Nadiri outright.
Well, there's a risk with Nadiri, right? If you lose that opening coin flip, you're stuck with a very long phase. Unless you can capitalize on player kills, which is team specific, right? So
Yep.
If you're confident in your PK, Nadiri is a map to go to. But if you're not confident in how quickly you can take things down, that phase 1 coming out of coin flip, if you lose, can be catastrophic, because it gives. I've seen some teams, right? They can knock down both cruisers 2 out of phaseable in phase 1, and that's 30 points against the enemy team's offense. So it's cut by half essentially. And it's not impossible, but it is a uphill struggle if you cannot PK your way out of phase 1.
Would agree, right? So maybe even just as you mentioned, right, it's just as a way of mitigating the risk to your overall, tournament approach or tournament strategy. Just get rid of it altogether. Say no, thank you, Nadiri. We are not headed in your direction. But it does, of course, still leave enough room, right, for some of these minor balance changes. I think we saw Imperial Guard as one of the more, I want to say, standard approaches to the opening phase. I think we even saw some excellent sort of both firing Goliaths and then also expertly countering Goliaths in that opening flips versus Splinter Squadron in our summer major last month.
Yeah.
I have to imagine we're going to see some very similar things, especially from Imperial Guard on Fostar. Some of those shots are a little tough to make. I got to thread the needle on a few of those Goliath rounds, but I know we've seen Imperial Guard do it. Let's see if they can pull it off here in round 2.
Yeah, and I want to see if anybody, because IG also does like to shoot down enemy Goliaths, so I do want to see how this opening phase goes. Because while you do thread the needle for some of those shots, because of that open space, they're also very obvious when they come in.
Also true.
Unlike a map like Galatan, where you're kind of fighting against the visual effects of the map, and it gets a little harder to see. Of course, targeting computers fix that, but it can still be a little, what's the word I'm looking for? Difficult to find that target perfectly.
Now it does make me wonder, right? If we're playing, if we were to only use the in-instrument panel option that's available in Squadrons, I have to wonder how much of the approach and strategy we'd actually see change here in Squadrons. That might be an interesting event. Boy, howdy!
I tried to play instrument only like once, and I'm like, this is objectively harder.
Terrible.
Like, yeah.
How am I supposed to play on this 1970s CRT that's bolted to the front of this thing? I don't get it.
Future tech with retro tech.
It's good times. It's if the folks if our viewers viewing audience has not tried it yet, it is an experience to have, especially if you've got a handy VR setup there.
Oh yeah, it's super aesthetic in VR, and the CRT has that slight curve to it. Beautiful. Looking at these loadouts, though, we have got a 2-bomber Reaper TIE Fighter loadout here, with the bombers running the Goliath multi-locks, of course. The fighter, that's a good question what the fighter is running.
Yeah, a little bit of a bully TIE Fighter there.
Droid. And double ion with a burst cannon on Dyna. Looks like it's going to be a pretty hard either disabled dunk in fighting, or they're going to go for a quick destroy on Raider, get that 20 points, try to end this opening coin flip as quickly as possible, right? That's kind of the goal, especially on a map like Fostar. You want to make sure you dominate these openings. The less morale you give. I mean, that's true on a lot of maps, but especially on slow maps, that is double true.
Right. The timing of things, right, and when you achieve some of those things is so much more critical when you've got some of these slower play maps, because you've got so much more time, where if you lose that round, right, you're giving the opponent so much more time in attack phase, burning those things down.
On IG, you got 2 bombers, 2 fighters, or 2 X-Wings, and a support. So the Y-Wing's running Goliath multi-lock, the X-Wing running Burst Proton Ion and Burst Ion Proton, so 2 identical loadouts. And the support Narcissus running Targeting Beacon and Tractor Beam, of course. Narcissus coming in with those support kills are absolutely huge. We did see a lot of dunks this last game with Narcissus doing heavy support damage.
Yeah, no kidding, right? A lot of critical disables from Narcissus and those ion cannons there from that support chip. I mean, we've seen it work, we've seen it not work, we've seen supports play more aggressively and die, we've seen the supports play more cautiously and have less of an impact on the overall battle. It really does take an extremely skilled pilot to balance all of those things in that support role. And Narcissus is definitely one of the best at it.
Oh, yeah. Not afraid to get right in their business and tractor beam them down to death. Let's find out what happens, though, as we get into game number 2. Again, IG winning game number 1 against Baywatch. This is the first round of semifinals in the Calrissian Cup Fall Minor. Again, a $500 prize pool. Let's see how these teams play it out. As we go towards the center of the map, we do see teams finding their AI packs, getting everything set up. I'm looking for a possible Goliath shot down, though. 1 minute and 33 seconds to go on that counter. It should begin to pop. And you see here, Beacon does go out on Baywatch. They do get a successful AI pack, but so does IG, pushing it back to half and half. Beach, tractor beamed at 6 hole. Does die. They do get that kill. Hod confirms that out there. Let's see how they handle the rest of this opening. We do see them try to desperately find players, find bombers. Meanwhile, on Randalorians, on Baywatch, that is Baywatch's sister team of Randalorians, we do see them trying to desperately find packs as these bombers, but the onslaught of pressure coming off players like Hod and the AI packs.
There's another player kill on Ariga there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no TIE Defender loadout from Baywatch here is going. I'm just gonna say it is unique, right? We haven't seen that in I don't know, forever.
It's
ever
been a while,
right? It's been a while, right?
Defender is strong. They're going for the advantage of having double ions on that fighter. We did see it didn't really exactly play out smoothly in this coin flip. However, we'll see how it handles when they go into this defense, because as you can see with Disco Dino, the double ions already going into the Corvette, knocking down its shields. Wants to get it down as quickly as possible, because again, that's one spot of determined morale points in Fostar is going to be that 20 points.
And Cobra still doing, or Cobra Bay, still doing quite a bit of damage in that interceptor, using it almost as sort of the old Scalp Waka build with both targeting jammers and repair. Whoa, a little bit of bumping around from Craigzilla there, but a lot of damage still coming out of those laser cannons. So as long as you can keep them on target, they're spectacular.
Disco Dino struggling to survive out here with 7 Hull, desperately flying as defensively as possible, going in circles, not wanting to give up that 10 points back to IG, evading missiles, having a struggle, does get marked, but finally does get a repair droid and does live to see another day. That could have been pretty bad. But now they're on the offense. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, no kidding. So a phase flip there, but Narcissist dead as well at the opening of that phase flip. I was too busy looking at all the player kills and commenting on some other thing. I was not keeping track of that frigate damage. It looks like both frigates are still up. Is that true?
I believe so, yeah. We're not seeing a 15-point shuffle backwards. I was focused on seeing if Dino was going to die there, because that could have been an extension on that phase. But meanwhile, though, we do see Dino coming in on Empire, just dumping the burst cannons into Charlie, gets it down to half hull, getting a repair droid and going back in, getting more damage done. We do see a player kill does happen as Ariga Tai does
down
fall.
Again. We're seeing some more ion shots coming in on D. Oh, and a player kill back on... Oh, well, we've got a couple of them out there. Beach 89 also taking a loss. Heck getting killed out there as well. Whew. A number of back and forth. This morale bar is not moving, and we're seeing a lot more damage on these frigates this time.
15 points is going to go back towards the Empire, lengthening out this phase even longer. We do see Dino getting out of tractor beams, surviving, getting down so much burst cannon damage on Charlie. It is nearly gone. Morale's at half and half, but in about like 20 seconds, it's not gonna be, and there it is, 15 points going back towards the Empire. Dino does get out, does go back in. Nobody's dying. They refuse to die. Kriegzilla's still down. It's a 5v4 out here for Baywatch, as now they go hard into D, but they do lose their Raider.
Cobra is just like the pressure from Cobra in this TIE interceptor is I mean, I don't want to say unheard of, but is so incredibly strong. There's no focus from them on anything but shooting down other players here, and it is being felt on the Imperial Guard side.
Let's see how they do. I mean, again, the morale is at a point where an AI pack is going to flip it, but if they get down Delta before, it all depends on what they want to play out here, actually. Because it's the MC-75. You can burst into those shields if you play it right and the players are there. It all depends what they want to do. It's at 7 hull. Looks like he's flying out defensively. The flip does happen. They're going to out of phase the second Nebulon. As it allows IG to come back in. A and B are still, or C and D are still up, but no shields remain on those two cruisers. Well, just kidding. D has a little bit of shields, but basically none.
Yeah, just I mean, I'll say it, a paltry amount of damage on these cruisers coming into this second assault phase for Imperial Guard. They've got to get both of these down, but I mean, the morale bar as such is...
Oh, it's already in a bad spot, right?
It's already almost down, with Kriegzilla also going down in this. Just Cobra just unrelenting here, and their pursuit of every single Rebel pilot that's out there.
We do see Dynasty desperately trying to get some X-Wing burst cannons down on Shirley and Delta, but again, the morale's over the halfway point. Desperate as it is, AI sacks are being found in 1 or 2 by Baywatch. C will most likely fall, right? I mean, it's at 9. There's no reason it wouldn't fall unless they plan to hold it out, but I don't see why they... Well, there's the
there it is.
The 20 points do go down on Corvette.
Baywatch just running a clinic here, as on the Imperial side of things, on our top seed, Kriegzilla goes down again. They do manage to get one of those cruisers down, but it is, they're going to try to out-of-phase the other. Heck, going in, just slamming head first into a try.
Oh yeah, meanwhile, Dino's on top of the MC-75. They're desperately trying to get in and get some damage down. Non-Lum getting some ions on the outside of the MC-75 shield. We have Disco already in there. No damage on these subsystems just quite yet, though. Non-Lum almost nearly dead. Ariga Tai struggling at half hull. We do see crazy picks out here. Dynasty dead. Kriegzilla dead. Heck coming back up. Narcissus dead. It is just a PK disaster out here for IG today.
No kidding. And I mean, the morale bar is essentially back to full, despite everything going on. They finally pulled
look at the
hole
hole
from
on
their side.
Baywatch. Baywatch is sitting out there with paper thin holes out here, desperately trying to get down some sub. Left is fallen. Right against the fall.
Yeah,
to say, where's the damage?
Where's the damage, right? I think that was the key, right? They were all sort of so weak after coming in that they finally all just sort of fell at once. They managed to get both of the shields down now. Oh my goodness, they finally flipped back. But they are essentially going to have to one-shot this ISD here.
You know, it's... What's all? I don't know. I don't know, because they didn't get down power. They were on top of that MC-75 for so long. They got down a lot of IG, but they only got down the left and the right shields. I mean, of course, it is going to be awkward as they come in. Somebody immediately ion missiles that power, knocks it down. I guess we'll have to see how it goes, because obviously A is going to fall here, right? A is nearly gone. The morale is almost completely full. It's probably going to go completely full when B does fall. And
there it goes.
The hole is high enough on the MC-75 that if they get down left and right shields, they get down power, they knock down most of those weak points, and they start engine parking, it might become a base race.
Ooh, that's a good point. It's a good point. So it is going to come down to Baywatch's defense here, and so far they are nowhere to be seen. Are they trying to out-of-phase the MC-75? We could see a few
no, they're on
blips.
top of the ISD right now. We're seeing a bit of chaos at the back of the ISD. 3 members of... IG are back there swarming like hornets. Meanwhile, 3 are on top of the Corvette trying to get some damage and stop them from coming in. We do see left shield does fall and right shield as well. IG coming in, just getting damage down. Where is that power pop? With the morale at half now, we do see Heck underneath just pumping into power, trying to destroy it. It's below half now. It's 43-6-31.
Also goes down. Oh man, this may not be.
There it is.
There
all
goes
3 are down. We're gonna see possibly Heck get behind the ISD, trying to find these weak points as quickly as possible, as this is going to very easily become a base race. The Star Destroyer at 52. The MC-75 weak as well. Is the who can destroy first.
Ooh, and Heck is gonna get knocked out of there by the flak cannons on the ISD. There are no... Ooh, there is one pilot still remaining behind that ISD. And it looks like the
that's
Baywatch
the thing,
is out there already.
You've got 4 on top of the MC-75. Only got 1 parked behind the ISD. I don't know if they get the damage quickly. Power does fall. If they can find those 5 weak points quickly, they're going to be able to win and take this game. But again, it all depends. Narcissus getting ioned out. Not killed, though. Trying to desperately survive, defending this MC-75 as they try to find these weak points and end this game.
It is just neck and neck here. Narcissus trying to valiantly defend against Disco Dino. That is going to be they are going to get the MC-75 just at the end there. Not able to out of phase the ISD, and Baywatch takes a sweaty round 2 versus Imperial Guard. Good gravy.
Looking at this scoreboard, you got Heck with 4, 24 AI at the top of 51 cap ship damage on IG side, 7 and 4 with Narcissus in that support. Hod 243, Dynasty 1-3. And on Baywatch, you got 3-2 on Disco Dino, 60k cap ship damage, 84k cap ship damage on Beach with that Bomber 22 AI, 27 AI on Ariga Tai, on Non-Lum with 126, and Cobra Bay with 11
kills. 11
I mean, it makes
kills.
Sense. It's Foster. You're gonna have to get that morale somewhere.
I mean, I guess I think we've seen anybody with 11 kills in quite a while.
Yeah,
in any of these Cal Cup rounds. So good gravy. Was he going to town in TIE Interceptor? Hey, it clearly it's still got a place. Oh man, here today. Narcissist also 7 kills in the support. What is that
I
magic?
know, man. What some kills, blood in eyes.
So that of course will even things up here between Baywatch and Imperial Guard. Man, for our semifinals, it was such a dynamic game. None of it was straightforward. It was fun. It was super cool to watch and see the back and forth there and the successes and failures on both sides as they just punched each other in the mouth until finally Baywatch managed to take the win there. But man, that was a tough one.
Constant punches to the jawline. Both are battered and bruised, but it ain't over yet, as it's a best of 5, not a best of 3. We still got, at minimum, 2 more games, at maximum 3 between these two teams to figure out who's going to win, who's going to take it away. I mean, Empire won Foster. That makes sense to me. Empire, I do think, is definitely favored, and just the amount of, the longer a phase goes, the more shunted rotary cannon you can get out of a TIE Bomber, and TIE Bomber just maxes out the DPS in this game.
It's fair.
But definitely wasn't in like an easy win, mind you. That was definitely a well and hard fought win from Baywatch.
And it wasn't right. Hey, just a bunch of fancy flying from TIE defenders that never get hit, right? Like it was very focused and specific damage out of both of the non-bomber players on Baywatch, right? So we had the double ion bruiser TIE, if you want to call it that, right? Just going in, disabling things, getting shields down everywhere they could, and then nothing but player kills. There was zero cap ship damage from Cobra Bay. Nothing. Just nothing but player kills that entire game.
Man had a purpose, and that was taking lives.
Oh man, so it does look like we will see Galatan as our next map here. I have to imagine Imperial Guard sure as hell does not want to give Baywatch the Empire side again, so I'm pretty sure we're going to see that flip back.
Oh yeah.
The real question will be, what will we see in terms of ships and loadouts? I mean, we didn't see an A-Wing interceptor from Cobra Bay the first round. I mean, but that's I know. My favorite ship of the galaxy relegated to shelves, but that's okay. I'm over it. I'm all right. But you're absolutely right. Will Cobra have nearly as much of an impact in an X-Wing? And I think the answer is largely no. You really can't. You almost have to play a different role when you play on the Republic side of things, right?
The running go-to is like on Empire and on New Republic is that the roles ironically get shifted for what your off role is. So like Y-Wings are good with their ICT to like harass players, ironically, and X-Wings are really good with their bursts to be able to come in and get objective damage. Meanwhile, the inverse happens, on the Empire, where TIE Bombers just max out their DPS of any ship. So obviously, their objective kings and fighters exist in a weird spot because of the defender. But I mean, we do see the double ion is a valid strat for getting in and quickly getting down shields on both, Corvettes and Nebulons, right?
I mean, I think we saw maybe that same loadout struggle just a little bit in that opening phase, right? Imperial Guard did take that opening phase, right? Yeah. And just that initial push, just I still don't know exactly what happened on that initial attack phase from Imperial Guard. It went absolutely nowhere in a hurry.
It didn't immediately become a wash. Yeah,
but they had a full morale bar, and I mean, they barely got any shield damage on one Neb-B. They barely got any hull damage, and on the other end, they were like Baywatch was able to flip it quickly on Foster, which is like we had talked about.
I know,
right?
it's
Usually those
surprising.
are just so long in the tooth that for whatever reason Baywatch was able to get it. Oh, go for it.
Was the fact that coin flip was won with weakened hulls, right? And I mean the 11 kills on Cobra does allude to this player kill damage. We did see Dino coming into with the double ions, immediately getting that 20 points down on that Corvette too, plus 2 player kills. That'll flip it back from a halfway point. So
it's interesting we even mention it, right? Because even if you lose that opening handily on Foster, a lot of those AI packs are still sort of out and easily available.
Yeah, until they respawn.
Until they respawn, right? So even if you sort of delay a little bit, you can easily get a couple of packs sort of boosting yourself back in morale even after you lose that field, if they're still around, right? If they're still around in that center melee.
And as a reminder, 3 AI packs for both sides are up at any given time. So I guess one could argue, as long as you have like initial AI packs up into phase 1, you actually are setting yourself up for a quick flip out of that first phase. Every other phase, though, as we saw, just drags.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we mentioned it as one of the games that Splinter was playing versus Cavern Angels. I think it was a best of 5 going way back now, where it was a lot of back and forth. A lot of teams aim to win that initial flip real fast, right? But as you mentioned, it sometimes leaves those opening AI packs still around. If for whatever in that particular match it ran the distance of 2 full minutes in that opening phase, and there was just simply no AI packs left. Like they all had to respawn, they all had to travel a long distance to get to the fight, and that gave Splinter a huge duration in that first offensive phase. We almost see the opposite happen here between Baywatch and Imperial Guard. So it looks like we are starting to load up. Oh, my good man, I see you staring at screens that aren't the camera, so that usually means you're getting those machines loaded.
Oh yeah. There we go. Looks like again, the map's gonna be Gallatin as these teams go 1-1 in this semifinals of the Calrissian Cup Fall Minor.
Woo!
Both teams slugging it out, not desperately, but both things slugging it out to get into the finals. We'll see what happens in game number 3, though. Again, the faction's going to be Galactic Empire for IG and the New Republic for Baywatch. So we'll see how it goes.
And just to give a shout out, of course, to our current charity run. Of course, the team here at the Gaming Stadium is excited to support the Make-A-Wish Foundation for this final stretch of the Calrissian Cup. They've got a goal. It's a visionary goal, I'll put it that way, of $5,000 for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. So if you can make a contribution, there is a link in the Twitch chat. They are looking to make some wishes come true. So if you would like to support or donate, check it out at tgs.gg/WISH to make a donation today. I know, in fact, I'll have to check when I've got some downtime so that I can put my contribution in as well. It is, It's us, the gaming community. We're all in this together, trying to make a difference in everybody's lives, including the lives of our squadron pilots around the galaxy.
Couldn't say it any better.
We are still loading up into Gallatin here. Gallatin. Do we
think?
Oh, I was just going to say, do we know, I'm just looking at the lore side of things. Do we know what actually caused Gallatin to be what it is? I have
no idea. I know you guys jokingly called me Lore Master. I don't know. I just know that there are chicken nuggies in the sky. They rotate around and people run into them.
Let's see. We're just gonna Wikipedia this one here real quick
Ooh.
because that's how we. Turbulent forces of the nebula had caused Galatan, so the world Galatan itself, to shatter into an asteroid field of molten fragments. Okay, well there we go.
Okay. Today I learned.
Today, yes, we all learned in the let's see, the core world region, the Bormia sector is where Galatan sits. Very, very nice. Very nice.
Very nice. Oh, I can't believe, R1, that it's already mid-August. I'm just looking at my screens. I just saw the calendar down there, and it said,
yeah,
blows my
no
mind.
kidding, right?
It's still
you can
March
tell all the gray
2020
hair
for
I've
me.
picked up during the course of this Calrissian Cup series here.
I swear, yeah.
We have been doing this for I will say an exciting period of time. What a time to be alive, to be around while Squadrons is out and about.
It's going to be a year soon.
It is going to be a whole... I can't believe it's not a year yet, almost, right?
I know.
Whew, all right.
I mean, at the same time, it feels like forever, but it feels like nothing at all. So...
Indeed. Well, as we load into the lobby here, it looks like Narcissist and looks like the whole Imperial Guard squad is setting up for their standard array of things.
yeah.
Ion missile, APS burst cannon, ion missile, APS burst cannon on both of those TIE defenders, rotaries, multi-lock Goliath.
Mm-hmm. Pretty standard stuff coming out of IG. Meanwhile,
Now
on Baywatch, let's see what's all going on out there. We've got ourselves two X, two Ys, and a U. The X running Ion. Of course, it's Disco Dino again running double Ions on that fighter. Beach running Goliath, multi-lock standard laser. Cobra Bay running that standard laser repair droid.
Getting
Ion
that
missile.
time in. Ooh, and conversion shields. Conversion shields. Down.
Oh, yeah, there's some mix-ups going out here. You don't see that too often, that slight invulnerability, then immediate death.
It's if all that does is give you enough time to hit the repair droid, maybe that works. I mean, if your role is pure anti-starfighter, maybe that is some maybe that's just as tasty as these chicken tendies floating in space here around Galatan. Beautiful,
at
beautiful
first I didn't
blue
think
world.
of them as chicken nuggies, but it is slowly warmed up into my mind, and now that's all I can see.
Well, there you go. Well, I mean,
just flying
especially
around gets me hungry every single time.
Especially when it sort of stretches. We'll see it rotate this way in just a hair, right? Where they get those little, like the slightly twisted ones that look like the spicy ones you get from Popeyes. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. All right. As we load into those chicken tendies here on Galatan, it is round 3 of this semifinals match between Imperial Guard and Baywatch. It is anybody's round. Let's see what our players have in store for us this time.
Now let's find out as these teams are going towards center of field. Let's see who's targeting what and where. We see Beach flying in, the rest of Baywatch flying in as well, seeing them go and find their stacks. Meanwhile, on IG, of course, the inverse is happening, trying to find their stacks as well. I'm looking to see again if we can see any sort of ion disable or any sort of missile knockdown. We do see Hod targeting a missile, trying to knock it down, does knock down that Goliath out of the sky. But they get another Goliath off. The other member of Baywatch gets their AI. It now sits at a half and half, but we do see IG getting a kill on Ariga Tai. But
almost
does
down.
fall.
Oh, man. Oh, a little bump.
Ooh. Yeah, that is Galatan for you. Bumps back and forth. Trying to parallel park in Star Wars. Ain't gonna work! As he's down at 57 Hall. Not dead, though. Continues living.
No, taking a few self-inflicted wounds there, bouncing around those chicken nugs. We do see Cobra Bay just like nothing. It is nothing but player kills here.
Oh yeah, trying to take down Kriegzilla. He has been beaconed. No countermeasures can go out. 5 Hole left. Does get that TIE bomber. Knocks him out of the sky. A few more AI, and Baywatch will have this. But Yet again, if they can get a player kill from IG, we do see a nuke going out on Cobra Bay, loses all of his shields as Hod, right behind him, starts pummeling in, but it's just too little too late as Baywatch takes this opening phase.
Hod with another, with the death, Heck also dying there. They are all over these player kills here, defeating just enough and putting just enough pressure on Imperial Guard to, Disco getting a little bit of bounce there as well, but yes, it is just maddening the amount of pressure that Baywatch is able to apply here.
Baywatch coming in,
all of these Imperial player kills, or all these
knocking
Imperial Guard
down
kills.
shields on Delta with a complete morale domination. I mean, now it moves, but not before the shields had vanished on Delta for Baywatch. Cobra Bay getting ion dunked in the sky, losing all shields, but not getting punished after losing shields. IG just cannot confirm these kills as Baywatch comes in and starts to just destroy back and forth. We do see AI happening. Beach does finally fall. 10 points go back to IG, but again, Delta at 37 hull. Baywatch in there just getting down damage.
We can see Imperial Guard definitely creeping back in that morale here. D down in a decent range. I can't tell if that Corvette is still up or not. It does look like that Corvette is up and still spinning around, so as soon as that goes, it will be a good chunk of damage, or excuse me, good chunk of morale back. But they're just, I mean, they're either unable to focus on it.
They're just not confirming kills. I mean,
there it goes.
I just watched Arigatai run away, Narcissus behind, Hod behind, gets the resupply 2 times in a row, and they just cannot confirm these kills. Hod does fall as Baywatch just continues to come in, survive, and get down damage.
Oh, man. Omlum with the return fire on Narcissus there, breaking them down as well.
Ooh,
Man.
Origa does bonk into a rock and dies, though.
No!
Pilot error strikes again in Star Wars Squadrons.
As they do manage to get down that Architans out of phase, that will, of course, make this about 3/4 of morale bar. No shield damage quite yet. And Heck trying to get some damage on, but they are being pursued plenty by Baywatch here.
Oh yeah, Hod getting Ion right there, getting dunked out of the sky. Does die. Kriegzilla weak as well. We do see Ions going down on both C and D out here. Both shields have basically vanished. We see Heck out here with Rotary trying to get desperately down some damage on these frigates. But alas, it all depends on how quickly that they can get these down. Heck is, Kriegzilla's back at resupply. So that's a lot of damage
changing
gone.
out as well now on in the TIE Fighter mode here, trying to get some burst damage, ion damage into... No, I'm sorry. That is a ion torpedo and a concussion missile for Narcissist here?
Oh, yeah, it is. Well, yeah, the thing is that they're in a position where they need to get down raw DPS. They get down some damage, but again, that Nebulon's at 77. That's not an easy out of phase. That's a hard spot to be in. Meanwhile, Baywatch really only has 1 to take down. We do see the other Nebulon is basically dead. There's the 15 points. But once Delta does fall, that's a quick reversal of that 15 points. And the other Nebulon is definitely not easily out of phaseable. It'd be more of a hassle than a worth to get it right now.
So Narcissus coming back in the Reaper support. Heck trying to get out of there. Narcissus coming back, trying to get a resupply over to Heck before they bite it. 29 left on Heck. No! Oh, no, wait, no. Heck manages to get into the bay of the ISDs. Woohoo! All right.
Meanwhile, this Beacon Cruiser gets down to 26-25 and falling by the second as the team is out here just getting their damage down. We do see, however, Beach does get targeted, tried to evade, but it was too little too late, does get knocked out of the sky, as they are quickly actually losing morale. This has not been a successful assault phase for Baywatch, as we do see IG coming back in with the offense with the pressure.
Just maybe a little bit too much focus on those player kills, dodging those ion missiles, able to get out of harm's way. They're waiting for...
They're waiting for Flip, I believe.
Flip.
But sadly,
no.
I think the passive damage right there might have flipped it over.
As
As Corvette's still up. They can't stop that Corvette. that most likely plays into a happy accident for IG here. Maybe not an accident, maybe a very deliberately chosen here.
Yep.
To not allow an out of phase by keeping that Corvette alive to force a destruction, that 15 points, and then take it back with 20 as they destroy the Corvette.
All right, so now it is back in Imperial Guard's hands here. They need to get down this assault frigate. They have a little bit of time they can bide, right? Because any AI packs found, or at least the first 15 points worth of AI packs found, are just going to be wiped out as soon as this assault frigate goes down. The real question is, what is Baywatch trying to do? They're not holding off. They are trying to find AI, probably trying to find some player kills as well.
Oh yeah, the big thing will be right now, because that 15 points is going to reset this morale bar when they take it, right? No matter, unless they got 15 AI out of nowhere. There's the reset on the bar. The big thing is stopping members of IG as they come in on this approach. We do see Heck very weak at 5 hull, does get knocked out of the sky. That makes it a 5v4. Kriegzilla takes some damage as well. 48 has been beacon, does get tractor beam, does in fact stay at 29, does not die. Just kidding, starts to die again at 20. 18 hull. Trying to get down some rotary on the shields, does get down a decent amount of rotary though and doesn't die. Finally does die, but at what cost? As that subsystem left has fallen, right is about to fall. 2 subs
there
down
goes.
on the MC75. Can they get power before the flip is the big question. Hod down, Kriegzilla down. The flip does happen.
There is
Dynasty
the
starts
flip.
jumping into power. Power is at 78. It does fall. 3 subs down on that MC75. But again, it's a flagship versus flagship here with full morale and that Corvette on entry. If they defend that Corvette as it comes in and get down those shields, that'll be a lot of hull damage.
Yeah, targeting still up on the MC75, which is going to still get the full value of those guns into the ISD here. You can see Rando just flying under and around, trying to even evade, I think, some shots there. Getting some
Dynasty
ions.
does fall. It is not a good spot for IG.
Here
As
comes
we
an
do
ion
see
run.
Baywatch coming in. They've disabled both left and right shields. Power has fallen. They're going for pure damage right now. We do see Cobra does see a weak point on the back of the ISD. Sees 2 actually on the top of the bridge. Finds 2 of the 5 weak points. How much damage can they get down? Desperately trying to find. Finds a 3rd and the 4th weak point. 4 of them were on top of the ISD. That is good RNG for Cobra as he comes in and confirms these 4 weak points, but does die before he can confirm the 4th. But again, teamwork, communication, call that out for his teammates, being able to get that hold down, because that's definitely parkable now. As we
don't
do
get these
see
shields, though. That is going to be some.
They are being smart. We do see non-lum instead at this point.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Going to try to take down these shield gens to make sure they can park, right? That can be a do or die on parking, as if shields come back up, not a good spot to be in. Those shield gens, one's at 43. But we do see non-lum dying. We see Beach back there just trying to dump damage into the Star Destroyer.
It's going to be a base race here. There's nothing left to do other than try to get this hull down. They've got 15 left on the ISD. Can they get the ISD down before?
Ooh, but the shields have been re-enabled.
Oh no, it's a real tough thing to get underneath those shields.
And some Pearson.
ISD down to 9, 8. Ooh, some Pearson and
but
some
Cobra
big torch
does
going
fall.
out.
Meanwhile, the MC75 losing hull quickly. The ISD is down pretty low. If I can find somebody targeting it so I can get the exact number. It's down to 6, down to 5. Meanwhile, the
MC75 on both sides. Who is going to win this base race?
ISD's at 2.
Crazy intensity here.
ISD still at 2.
Oh, the MC75 erupts in explosions, and Imperial Guard will take an extremely close match versus Baywatch here. Holy smoke. A game of seconds, a game of inches there.
I mean, like I said, the Star Destroyer, the last I saw it was at 2 hull. That is definitely, a piercing.
Right.
Oh, man, looking at that scoreboard, though, looking at these points, we got 30k captured on Dynasty, 66 on Kriegzilla, 53 on Heck, and meanwhile on Baywatch, we got ourselves 43k on Beach, Disco down at 48, a Riga tie at 34. It's solid game, quite the base race, but the shields re-enabling on that ISD stopped the hull damage coming in and gave
Gave
IG
Imperial
that
Guard
little window they needed.
just enough, right? That was just enough. And I mean, it could have been done in a dozen different ways, right? Like we saw excellent player picks from IG. When Cobra went down, when Beach went down, when Narcissus went down, right? When all of those player picks happened, right? All of those were essentially exactly when they needed to. If they were just a few seconds later on any of those, that ISD would have been gone. Whew. A nail biter here for round number 3, and we still got maybe 2 more to go.
Yeah. Both teams want to take this W and take it hard. Of course, everybody always does, right? You don't come into a tournament wanting to lose, but you can see the fangs coming out, the nails getting dug in as these teams are getting down to the wire. IG with the advantage, though. They win one more game, they go to the finals and face whoever goes and wins the other semi we're going to be watching. That's Splinter versus Hut Cartel.
Ooh, coming up next after this. So we are headed to Yavin with, I'm going to say, probably a flip to the Imperial side for Baywatch here. And, I mean, a new map, a new set of variables to master and contend with. It is, of course, the most open set of variables you could ask for. Everybody is going to see those Dumbfire Goliaths coming.
Oh, yeah. And when I've been watching HOD these games, being able to get in and shut down these Goliaths, it's going to be even easier on this map as there's nothing stopping them.
So the real question now maybe is from Baywatch, do you even try for them? Do you wait for that lock-on range and then fire? That gets obviously a lot trickier to manage. What is going to be your upfront strategy, right? Obviously, they're just based on the cooldown for some of those ordnance, right? You don't want to fire if it's not going to have any effect.
The thing that I would be doing, right, is that if I know my Goliaths keep on getting knocked down every single opener, I would ask myself, what do I need to do to not have these Goliaths get knocked down every single opener? The big one is aggroing the hitter of those Goliaths to where they just can't lock onto that missile and shoot it down, right? So what I would want to see is some sort of, aggro on these, which is HOD in this case so far that I've seen, but I'm sure all of IG is aware of this and knows to knock down these Goliaths. It's just to get down some immediate player pressure to scare them into not being able to lock onto these missiles and get that 15 points back towards Baywatch. And that's kind of the position I would be in watching these last few games.
It's a really good question because, I mean, while players might know some of it, right? We do have a bit of an advantage, right? Because we could see both sides of the match going on right here, right? So it may not be Baywatch may not even know necessarily that HOD is the one responsible for shooting them down, right? So they may just be, it may just end up being, okay, well, we're not going to shoot any Dumbfire Goliaths. We're instead just going to go into a harassment mode. We're going to try to get those TIE defenders out. I don't know. But it's a good point. It's all going to be X-Wings and Y-Wings on the Imperial Guard side of things here.
Yeah.
Man. I'm so excited to see which tricks each team is going to pull out of their bag here to contend with tricks that are now sort of known but not known by the other teams.
Oh yeah. As we get our machines into game number 4 again, map's gonna be Yavin. IG with the advantage here, 2-1 over Baywatch, but if Baywatch wins this, we'll be pushed into a game 5 in this best of 5 in this round of semis. Again, Cal Cup Fall Minor. All we got left afterwards is the Fall Major and the Grands, so a lot of this comes down to points and getting invitations for that Grand Finals.
Yeah, so of course, we've got our top 16 teams from the entire league, I guess you could call it, right? Series of events that will be selected or chosen to compete in the Calrissian Cup final for 5,000 Canadian dollars. Good gravy. And of course, 4 of those are going to come from invitations, 1 from all of the individual major events. The rest of that field is going to be filled out by points winners from each sort of half of the season here. So there are still, I guess you could say, 5 spots that are going to be up for grabs, either by points or by golden tickets from winning those major events. So everybody is fighting for those last spots in that major event. A few folks are obviously, guaranteed in already, but there are still a lot of competition. So the higher up you can place, the better you can place in any of these events. More points that earns you towards winning that spot. So let's see what we got going on.
Again, IG going to be running the New Republic, and Baywatch going to be running the Galactic Empire on Yavin, the map with insta flips. So we'll see how it goes. Of course, Yavin has a bit of distance, and being able to shunt boost shunt is a huge one. So it all I don't know. Like I said in the beginning of watching this best of 5, I don't know what's going to happen. I predicted we might get to a 3-2, and so far we might be on
we're
that
definitely
track
headed
with a
that
2-1.
direction. Yeah, no kidding. It is a 2-1, of course, in Imperial Guard's favor. With Baywatch, I don't know. Their victory on the Imperial side at Fostar was a much stronger victory, maybe I'll put it this way, than Imperial Guard's victory at Galatan. So we will see what they're able to put, I guess I would say put on the table, but put up in space, I guess. What they are willing to serve us as a space stew for this round 4.
A space soup.
Space soup. Space soup.
A space kimchi jjigae. That's obvious. I have Korean cuisine on my mind.
Ooh, it's not bad. It's not bad.
I know, very good.
It does look like they are going to go with... I didn't see a TIE fighter on Baywatch side of things. They may have just decided to go with...
Oh, I see on Disco Dino is running that TIE fighter.
Still running the TIE on 5 fighter. Okay, good.
We do see Cobra Bay Sitka, which the name is long, so I miss Sitka and every other call out here. Running a interceptor. It's back, baby, with standard laser repair system and targeting jammer. Ariga Tai, I just can't pronounce the name. Apologies.
We're just watching
vibing.
protocol.
The bomber running rotary multi-lock Goliath. That is Ariga non-lum with the support running Ion targeting beacon supply droid, and Beach running the bomber with rotary Goliath multi-lock. Meanwhile, on New Republic running the 2 bomber 2 fighter 1 support. Narcissus obviously running the targeting beacon's tractor beam. Can't speak here. The 2 fighters Hod burst ion missile conk on both of them, and then I missed both the bombers.
Oh, that's all right. I was too busy jiving with that protocol droid that we had up on the screen there for a bit. I had no idea what was going on, but that's okay. That's I'm just here for the comic relief.
Yeah.
if you will, the Jar Jar Binks of this production. As we load into a gorgeous Yavin morning here. Would it be a morning, evening? Does it matter? Do they have those time periods in sort of the upper atmosphere here? I don't know. As we load into this 4th round of our semifinals, best of 5 between Imperial Guard and Baywatch. We are getting underway. Of course, 2 X-Wings, 2 Y-Wings over Narcissist in the support for Imperial Guard. Interceptor, Disco in the Bully Ion TIE Fighter with 2 TIE Bombers in tow for Baywatch. Well, of course, in that Ion Reaper. Coming in hot.
Ion dunk on Heck. Heck does start getting lasered down. Does die. A player kill does go out. As Baywatch is able to get a bunch of morale in this opening. Beach does fall, but so does Heck. Getting some solid AI, but it has flipped back. IG almost wiping. There we go. IG has taken it. Getting down
very
as well.
Very aggressive opening from Imperial Guard, getting 2 player kills out of all of that, along with a few AI packs. That is all it's going to take on Yavin, of course. Cobra also going down. This is an open field now.
Full morale. Charlie's getting shields dunked. The beacons are out. Charlie will be losing shields in about a second from these bursts coming down from the New Republic, from IG. Knocking down those shields on C, immediately going to D to knock down the shields on D as well, wasting no time. The Ion does get chaffed out, though, as Hod does try to enter, but meanwhile going back to C to get some hold down to 52-51 again. It's Yavin. It goes so fast!
Yeah, it is
just
nothing
doesn't stop.
but Imperial Guard is speed here.
I am speed.
Just absolutely demolishing this Architon's cruiser, getting all of that damage in. D's shield's almost down all the way, but 15 left on that Architon's. And the end of this morale bar and assault phase nowhere in sight quite yet.
Oh yeah, and the thing with Yavin is you get down pretty much both cruisers to out of phase. Though I say that, and a lot of bursts on morale just happened there. One more AI, it'll go back. Looks like they're saving it for Charlie for the out of phase, which makes sense as they rotate. And we do see Hod coming in with some bursts to take down that cruiser, get it back to 15 points for
Hod actually coming in on the other cruiser there. That other cruiser down to about 40, maybe a little less, as it flips, and
it's still up.
It's still up.
It's still up.
Oh,
there it goes.
Hey, wow.
Meanwhile, we do see Charlie lose all of its shields. Non-Lum in there with the ion cannons, getting some reliable ions down as the rotaries from the bombers come in and take down the hull on Charlie. The morale, of course, with that 15 points going back towards IG, is sitting closer to center than they probably want it to be at this point in their assault phase.
Cobra trying to get some damage in on Kriegzilla, but being harassed on their way in as well, unable to stop Krieg from getting that AI pack. And now we're going to see more damage pour into those frigates. They are trying to defend as best they can. And that is a kill on Nomlum as well. Ooh, pushing this bar the other way. But, I mean, at the same time...
And that Nebulon's at 12. It'll most likely fall here as they're rotating back towards it to get that out of phase. But only
just
one cruiser remains.
It'll be just about the same place as where IG sort of left things.
Dino tried to come into out of phase and got immediately punished for it. Did die.
So now we are seeing, trying to figure out, okay, Baywatch also now losing Beach. Ooh, this is gonna be dicey for Baywatch on defense here. They do manage to find a couple of AI packs. The 15 doesn't reset completely. There's another AI pack.
Oh yeah, and the assault on the ISD begins now. We see them immediately coming in to get some damage, and we do see members going on the ISD Dynasty and Hod coming in to get those shields down. Having a bit of a struggle for aerial superiority at the back of the ISD. 3 are on top of it. Meanwhile, all 5 of Baywatch is on top of that Star Destroyer trying to defend it desperately. We do see Dynasty down, Heck down. Hod trying to come in from the back of the ISD to take down these shields. Both have been disabled, not destroyed. Power has a little bit of damage as well.
Oh, but man, they are putting on a defense here. No subsystems are completely out. Several players from Imperial Guard are down. Shield gens are holding. They're getting chipped at a little bit.
Chipped slowly but surely. Right shield does fall. Left shield sits a little above half right now.
But one more AI to get those bursts on Narcissist here, but Narcissist just out of flight pattern. Man, that does manage to, of course, get that second shield gen, and that is the phase flip. That ISD not looking great. Could easily snag that power system on the way out. Does not look like they will do so, though. They are on full defense.
As we go into this next phase, right, left shield and right shield are dead on the ISD. Power still remains, but of course, an uphill battle for Baywatch as they need to take down both Charlie and Delta. I am sure they will. Looking at the hull on both of those, it's going to be 30 points back towards their favor, pretty much resetting the board for morale. As we see both do fall, it essentially resets it to 2 AI. As now they come in, it's all about speed, momentum, velocity. Disco Dino on top of the MC-75, going immediately for a power nuke, gets under shield, dumps the ion. Power does fall, not wasting any time, rotates back towards, looks like it's going to be a shield push to knock some burst cannon in. Gets that burst cannon in. Right shield now below half, left shield at 3/4.
Beach also drops Cobra, not able to find that kill before Heck manages to land back into the hangar of the MC-75.
We do see Dino finding 2 weak points, flying under shields to get those 2, finds another weak point. Just cannot get angle, though. Loses a lot of hull and attempting to get that 3rd weak point here. Shields are almost completely drained. The flip does happen. Shields are now at 23 on one side. The other side is completely destroyed. Can he knock it out before he's gone? No, he cannot. Non-land falls as well. They're all gone besides Beach, and Beach is a little too far back, already running on that defense.
This is not looking good for Baywatch here. That damage from the MC-75 is starting to creep in, as well as from all of the members of Imperial Guard. Are they going to be able to defend here, or is it all over but the crying for Baywatch? We can see torpedoes going out into that power system on the ISD. Torpedoes nail the power system. Weak points are out, popping those blisters. ISD down to 4 all remaining, and there it is.
Oh, yeah.
Imperial Guard taking round 4 versus Baywatch in our best of 5 semifinal. Here on your Fall Minor Calrissian Cup event. Ow.
You're so good at that impression.
Thanks.
I can't even try.
Been practicing. Ow. As we see here, 7 kills both sides. Narcissist, of course, the kill machine in that support craft. We don't know how he does it, but he does it. Traded for Cobra Bay, held to only 2 kills in that TIE Interceptor. A major shakeup in the way Imperial Guard handled that matchup. Really curtailing the effects that Cobra had on all, well, really in terms of player kills across the board. It was a close one. Baywatch put up an extremely good fight, but unfortunately it was all for Imperial Guard on that particular round on Yavin.
Yeah. With that, though, we are going to be pushing to a break. After this, we've got another round of semis. We got ourselves Splitter Squadron and Hut Cartel in the second round of semis.